Life After Last Christmas. As Wham's festive hit turns 40, how life took a dark turn for some of the stars who appeared with George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley.
It told a bittersweet tale of lost love amid the joy of the festive season. So perhaps it's only fitting that the legacy left by Wham's much-loved hit Last Christmas is one complicated by sadness. This year marks the 40th anniversary of George Michael and Andrew Ridgeley's ballad hitting the airwaves, cementing its position as one of the greatest festive hits of all time, and with a video documenting a trip to a ski chalet that's just as loved as the song. To mark the occasion, Andrew has returned to the same Swiss Alpine village where the video was filmed, joined by Wham. Backing singers Shirlie, Kemp and Helen Pepsi, DeMacque, as well as Jon Fowler, Cheryl Harrison, Fernandes and David Ridler, who also appeared in the video. The trip was also designed as a tribute to George, following his death in 2016 at the age of 53, with Andrew telling BBC Two's documentary Wham! Last Christmas Unwrapped, "There is an incompleteness being here without George. When he left us, he died at Christmas. To lose such a dear friend, when you have a particular bond, it was a truly desperate moment. He was my other half. I'd never conceived of a future without him." The group last performed together at Wham! The final concert at Wembley in June 1986, and despite multiple rumours of a reunion, they never performed again together. Their first public reunion came 31 years later when Andrew, Pepsi and Shirlie appeared on stage at the Brit Awards in 2017 to pay tribute to George. While Last Christmas video was considered groundbreaking at the time, with a focus on its narrative over performance, many of its stars have experienced varying fortunes since its release. Wham remained one of the most successful acts of the 1980s, but other names that famously featured in the video have battled struggles including alcoholism, backstage feuds and brushes with the law. Last Christmas finally reached number 1 in the UK charts in January 2021 following a huge campaign by fans, and this year it's once again tipped to be in contention for the coveted Christmas number 1. Mail Online takes a look at how the lives of some of the stars of Last Christmas have taken a darker turn than some might expect. Andrew Ridgeley. Over the past 2 decades, Andrew has largely been keen to shun the limelight, after his attempts at forging various new careers came to nothing after Wham! Disbanded. Shortly after the band split, he briefly moved to Monaco to pursue a career in Formula 3 motor racing before trying his hand as an actor in LA. He moved back to the UK permanently in 1990 and released a solo album Son of Albert, which was both a critical and commercial failure. However, in the same year his personal life took a turn for the better when he started dating his long-term friend, Bananarama's Karen Woodward. In 1991, he joined George on stage for his encore at the Rock in Rio event at the Maracana Stadium in Brazil, marking a distinct end to his public appearances. Since then, he had largely shunned the limelight, quitting London for good in 1994 to move to a 15th-century Cornish farmhouse with Woodward and her son Tom. Despite his lack of commercial success, Andrew has been able to live comfortably thanks to the royalties from Careless Whisper, which he co-wrote with George Michael, earning a reported £10 million since 1982. While Andrew has in the past kept a low profile, mostly surfacing in public to campaign for environmental causes, and in particular safer, cleaner water, he has been more public in the years following George's death. In 2019, he came out with an autobiography, titled George and Me, which detailed George's struggles to keep up the pretense he was straight during his Wham! Heyday. Andrew knew Michael was gay in 1983, when the pair were shooting Club Tropicana, but it was 15 years before he came out publicly. He revealed how Michael kept up the facade, for fear that going public could damage his career and chance of competing with stars such as Michael Jackson. Despite their close bond, Andrew also admits in the book that he was sometimes envious of Michael. He writes that, while he was amazed by his friend's prodigious talent, it would have been fabulous to have some of that stardust sprinkled upon me. Andrew was also behind a hugely successful Wham! Netflix documentary to mark their 40th anniversary that left fans with goosebumps. One of its producers, Simon Haffon, says his team spent over 2 years digging for footage and audio, and as a friend of both men, Simon had a good idea where to look. Andrew's love life has faced exciting twists and turns too, following his separation from Karen in 2017, after 27 years together. A few months ago, the star revealed he is involved in several relationships and no longer aspires to be monogamous. The former singer has also recently split from socialite Amanda Cronin in May. Andrew confirmed he is happily single, but added that he is dating multiple people, though he said he wanted to keep their identities private. Speaking to The Telegraph, Andrew said, "I like to protect the privacy of the women that I'm romantically linked with, or have a romantic interest with. It would be something that one would have to mutually agree if one were to make it public." When asked if he is currently in a relationship, he replied, "No, I have several romantic relationships." He continued that he does not want to commit to a single person currently because his lifestyle makes it too difficult to maintain. Andrew said, "Love comes in a variety of forms. I had a long-term relationship with Karen for many years, and we still have a great affection for each other. But at this point in time, I'm not aspiring to a monogamous one, or to commit to a single person for the foreseeable future. The way my life is makes it a bit tricky to hold down any one particular relationship, because I'm not in any one particular place. But yes, I am happily single." His ex-girlfriend Amanda previously suggested she had split from Andrew because of their differing views on monogamy, and explained she wanted her next partner to be someone she shared values with. She told the Daily Mail, "I'm looking for a monogamous relationship. When the next Mr. Right comes along, he will have the same set of values that I have. I'm quite traditional, a sweet country girl. I'm also discerning and want to be around other people who understand what that means." Andrew is also a keen cyclist and often shares social media posts about his latest treks. Shirlie Kemp. Along with Pepsi DeMacque, Shirlie was a backing singer and dancer for Wham at the height of their fame. After Wham ended, they formed a duo, Pepsi and Shirlie, and had 2 UK top 10 hits with Heartache and Goodbye Stranger. They also provided backing vocals on Geri Halliwell's 200 number One Bag It Up. As well as giving the singers a platform for fame, their time in Wham led to Shirlie meeting her husband Spandau Ballet's Martin Kemp, and as their son Roman revealed, forced George to call her. "I remember the first date that Shirlie and I ever went on," Martin told Piers Morgan on his show Life Stories. "George came as a chaperone. I spent the whole evening trying to lose him, so that me and Shirlie could sneak off somewhere and snog." The couple married in 1988 and went on to have a daughter Harley Moon and a son Roman, George's godson. In 1995, Martin was diagnosed with 2 brain tumors, and Shirlie took time out from her career to look after him, and ended up being declared bankrupt. She took on a part-time role with George Michael's record label Aegean, run by his cousin Andres Giorgio. The venture ultimately failed, but Shirlie has forged a new career for herself as a photographer and interior stylist. She specialized in vintage-style table adornments and whimsical-style photographic portraits. Shirlie is also a patron of the bereavement charity, the Good Grief Trust. George remained like a brother to her, and she, Martin and Roman were due to spend Boxing Day with the singer before his tragic death. In 2019, she and Martin released their first album together, which largely contained jazz covers. The following year, the Love released an autobiography and relationship advice book titled Shirlie and Martin Kemp. It's a love story. In 2021, Shirlie also featured in her son's highly regarded mental health documentary, Roman Kemp, Our Silent Emergency. Earlier this year, she and Martin featured on the 4th series of The Masked Singer. Helen Pepsi DeMacque. As well as performing as one part of Pepsi and Shirlie, Helen, 65, collaborated with Mike Oldfield in the late 90s, performing on his Then and Now tour, and at the premiere of Tubular Bells 3. She also dabbled with acting, appearing in the musical Hair at London's Old Vic Theatre in 1993. She then quit the showbiz scene and moved to New Zealand, where she worked in a gift shop in Lambton Quay. The singer has since settled in St. Lucia, where her family originally hails from, and runs a charter sailing company with her husband James. In addition to running tours for holidaymakers, their company offers a summer training program for students from the National Skills Development Centre, which helps get young people into work and teaches them life skills. My life in the Caribbean is very different to London life, but just as exciting, she says. I'm discovering and enjoying new ways of being. Loving sunsets, food, people, landscapes, and lots more. On Twitter, she also describes herself as a singer, actress, writer, traveler, and beyond. And her Instagram bio promises a debut novel in 2024. It is understood that Helen practices Buddhism. In 2021, the pair came out with a book called It's All in Black and White. Explaining the title, on Loose Women last year, Shirlie said, "Whenever I was younger, people would always say you always see things in black and white. That meant I could see things clearly, or I didn't. But then, a black girl and a white girl, you can take it that way. It never meant anything to us, we were just friends." Andres Giorgio. Andres previously branded himself as one of George's closest childhood friend, admitting they shared such a bond that they referred to each other as cousins. While they both pursued careers in music, they sensationally fell out in 1998, with Andres claiming he has a collection of unpublished songs written and sung by George. Speaking on the Victoria Derbyshire show, Andres described Jorga as a private person, an incredibly generous person, one of the nicest people you could ever meet, and shared how they used to drive around the West End at Christmas with 2 Range Rovers full of food for the homeless. Andres also previously said that on one occasion, when George was unable to go to a charity auction run by the Elton John AIDS Foundation, he told him to just buy everything when people were not bidding. George was also a godfather to Andres's son James Kennedy, though he has since expressed his regret that they were never able to heal their rift before his death. He said, "That hurts the most, that I didn't get to say goodbye." In 2020, Andres shared that he was planning to release a string of tracks that he recorded with George and his band Boogie Box High in the 10 years from 1987. Andres' ex Jacqueline has also had her fair share of struggles, despite carving out a career as an actress. She has previously struggled with alcoholism, and her son James Kennedy, who stars on the US reality series Vanderpump Rules, has previously shared insight into her struggles to get sober. In 2020, he explained their journey to sobriety together on the Daily Dish podcast, saying, "She's still sober. So she has now over a year under the belt, and our relationship is at a high, you know? She texts me every day, we talk every day, we live 10 minutes away from each other, so I like to see her. I treat her for lunch a couple times a week. So we stay close and our relationship has gone leaps and bounds since I stopped drinking as well, because now that we're both sober, we're both counting the blessings together every day, and it's just such a beautiful thing, you know? I never really thought that this would happen, but it really has, and it's just incredible, you know? There's no more hiding S***T. There's no more secrets now, do you know what I mean? Those family secrets, it's so hard to get over because, you know, everyone loves their mom, but like, you know? There are some things that are kept from people and said, and it just breaks families apart sometimes. With a son who stars on one of Bravo's most popular reality shows, it's no surprise that Jacqueline crossed paths with other Vanderpump Rules stars. In 2016, Stassi Schroeder shared some shocking claims about James' mother, including claims that she robbed a bank and was relying on cannabis to help her sleep. Speaking on her Reality Tea podcast, Stassi said, "Well, she robbed a bank. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. She robbed a bank and she stole money from Kristen, and it was like a huge deal. I don't want to know too many details because of reasons like this. I have to say them on a podcast. So just don't tell me. She might be my hero." Stassi later clarified that Jacqueline did work at but this is far from the only claims that have been made about her. But in reality, previously shared claims that Jacqueline stole Kristen Dutt's credit card and used it to buy Botox, and she discovered the theft when it was flagged by the spa. Kathy Hill. Kathy, who is now 67, captured the heart of the nation in the video with her dark brunette curls and festive yellow cardigan, while starring as George's love interest in the iconic Last Christmas video. Yet the star now looks unrecognizable from her music video days, ditching her dark locks for blonde curls. The star recently revealed she featured on the celebrity Christmas single So Delicious, which is raising money for Great Ormond Street Hospital. She also showed off her incredible physique and toned abs in bikini snaps as she took to social media to share photos from her holiday. Previously, Kathy spoke about her experience filming the famous video with Wham. She told The Mirror, "It was so much fun and really natural. It was just right. It wasn't staged. It's just a group of friends having fun. That's the magic. In the scene around the festive dinner table, we all got a little bit tipsy. I don't think George did, but we did. I drank a lot of red wine. She also revealed that George's fall in the snow wasn't staged, and he actually slipped. Kathy added, George slipped down every time. Once he ended up sitting on me, laughing. And that's the bit they used. It was completely natural. We were just laughing our heads off. He couldn't stand up. It's my favorite scene. David Ridler. David made a fleeting appearance in Last Christmas as a log carrier, a role that is still a joke topic between himself and Jon Fowler, who also starred in the video years later. Jon previously told The Telegraph, I wasn't asked to do anything like that, and it stayed with me. That gets brought up when we're together. We'll be at the rugby club, and someone will say, how come he got to carry the logs? I usurped Johnny for that spot, and he's never forgiven me, David joked. He's very bitter. David went on to open a bar with Andrew in North London, with George stunning the locals by popping in on occasions. Debbie Killingback. Debbie was the bouncy-haired blonde beauty who famously played George's girlfriend in Last Christmas. Following George's death in 2016, she paid an emotional tribute to him outside his home. She remembered Michael, who died on Christmas Day at the age of 53, as the most amazing person when she visited his home in North London, delivering flowers and holding a photo of her and the former Wham star, she said. He was just lovely, normal and down to earth. He was fun and liked to laugh, and was just the most amazing person. We all became close after the video was filmed, reminiscing over the part she played in the hit video, adding, I remember we had a few drinks on a night in, but George was very good. We also had a bed scene, but that got cut. When we went back I missed my plane, and George was at the airport and said, we thought you'd been kidnapped. Pat Fernandes. Having previously dated George back in the 80s, Pat was a fixture in several of Whamp's music videos, including Wake Me Up Before You Go Go and Last Christmas. She also worked as a model, but since their split, she has been noticeably absent from the spotlight. Mark Monero. After making a fleeting appearance in Last Christmas, Mark Monero has gone on to land a string of other roles, including a brief stint in Coronation Street, The Bill and Doctor Who. He also had a 7-year stint as Steve Elliott in EastEnders from 1991 to 1996. He also starred in the 1986 miniseries Sid and Nancy, and last year starred in the ITV series The Tower.